welcome to episode 9 of RE Resistance Interviews. Tonight we have Joan of Arcade, also known as Joan. How's it going?
Hey, it's going great. How are you doing, Ether?
I'm doing good. This is the girls season, so I'm happy to have you.
Yay, I'm happy to be a part of it.
First question, who is your main survivor, main mastermind, and why?
Well, Valerie is the one I started off with, and she is my highest level, and people will usually see me playing her more often, especially if I'm in a team, because she is the most important healer, gatherer that we have. But I would like to say that I am a Martin main, because I love Martin. I think he's the best character in the game. He's the most versatile. I know a lot of people disagree with me, and that's okay. That just means that I get to pick him when it's time to play, and I don't have to fight anyone for him. But I love Martin. I'd say I'm a Martin main. For Mastermind, I like Spencer. I like to play as Spencer. I've played as Trap Alex before, and it does seem like an easier way to play. I know a lot of people disagree, but it just feels like placing the traps, just kind of spamming them in one area and just like locking doors and shutting the lights off, and then you just kind of watch it all unfold. Versus Spencer, I like using zombies, and I like the D field because it's very like, oh, you shouldn't have all gotten together in one area, or you shouldn't have gotten down that hallway. You do it long ways, and just they think they're running from it, but they can't get away from it. It's perfect. Spencer's really cool.
Now, once RE3 dropped, what brought you to Resistance? And did you try the beta?
I did not try the beta. I wish I would have, but I didn't even know that the game existed until I got Resident Evil 3 right before the pandemic started, and it was a choice between food or Resident Evil, and I said, if I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die playing Resident Evil. I played through the game, beat it, and it was about April of 2020 that I actually started playing Resident Evil Resistance that was attached to it, and I fell in love. I have tried to go and play other games since then, and I have always come back to this damn game. I don't know what it is.
Now, in your opinion, what is the best squad of characters to have for a team?
In my personal opinion, in my little baby opinion, I think that Valerie, Tyrone, Jan, and Martin is a perfect team. Because I would make Tyrone and Martin the tanks. I'd give Martin a shoulder pad. I would make them split up, each taking a support character with them. Pharmacy Jan, First Aid Spray plus Val. And then the dudes would just knock down the doors, the girls would pick up everything and kill the cameras, and then, unless we all had to stay together because it was a net, we would just be able to have just the right amount of brawn, just the right amount of technology. We could interchange who wants to be USB. Tyrone does not have to be USB if he doesn't want to. Martin could do it, Jan could do it. I've never seen a Val do it really, but I wouldn't stop them. But I just think that that's a perfect, well-rounded team. I know Jill usually takes Martin's place in a lot of people's opinion, but Martin could do some stuff too. He could be a Jill.
Is there anyone in particular that inspired you to be better at this game, Joan, and improve or change your style?
Playing with super sweaty survivors and just being friends with super sweaty people makes me want to be sweatier, so that I will never let them down in the team, and they'll always want to play with me in the future. So just the rest of the community has made me want to be better. Keep running into the same masterminds that are super sweaty, and I just am like, I'm gonna make it my mission to beat that person, and you just work on it and you work on it. You find the perfect team, you find the perfect balance, and then you finally run into them, and you're like, oh, it's on. This is the revenge match I've been waiting for. Just playing with other people made me want to be better.
Do you play this game casually or competitively?
I would say casual, but I try to match the energy of the mastermind. If they go in swinging and they're, going balls to the wall, I will also try hard, and I will be more competitive if I'm in a team. If I'm in a team, it's like I can't lose because it's not just about me and my time. It's about everybody else's that gathered here today. Maybe they want to win. Maybe they don't want to end on a, so I try really hard to make sure I don't let anyone down. I've been putting First Aid Spray Plus on all my characters except January because she's Pharmacy, because I have to run around and be like, at any moment someone could die, and I just want to be the person that's going to be there to be like, I got you, and I don't even have to kneel down to revive you. Just spray and pray. And then I'd be done.
Have you ever felt this game is too one-sided? More in favor of Survivor or more in favor of Mastermind?
game, in my opinion, is definitely more in favor of survivors. Because there's 4 of us, and we have all of this equipment, we have all of these weapons, we have all of this coordination. If we are a true team and we're communicating with each other, we know what we're going to do, we know where we're going to be, we know what our objective is. We are invincible, we're unstoppable. The mastermind, yeah, they could do a couple of tricks like a terminal Spencer, or goop and shoot Nikolai, or super trap Alex, but I've also seen those kind of builds beaten before. So, I think that the survivors, if they just keep in mind that they're on a team and it's not a one-player game, the survivors will mostly always win. But the mastermind does have going for them, besides their own skill of just frantically doing everything on their own. But they can also kind of count on the fact that the team isn't always going to be doing the best things for the team. Someone could be way off on the other side of the map trying to solo everything and get downed, and no one's there to pick them up. The mastermind's like, I'm glad that person thought this was a one-player game, because now I am at an advantage. So it's definitely more in favor of survivor, but mastermind's got going for them is the fact that we're human and we're not always going to agree on something, and we're not always going to be where we need to be, or do the best things for the team. To keep stressing it's a team game.
What's your best memory of this game, Joan? And who were you with when it happened?
My best memory is when I did Mutated Nemesis tournament back in December. I know it wasn't very professional, it was his first time doing it, but I still had a lot of fun, and I'm still glad that I was a part of something, a part of the community. It was my first time being in a tournament, period, for video games, period. And so that was very special to me, important to me, and I got to share it with my friends Darkness OG, Blaze of 50, Psycho Wesker, Angel OG, and we did get completely destroyed by Avescus, Trap Alex. But I would not have wanted to be beaten by anyone else, because I find her one of the best Alexes in the game, and it was an honor to be absolutely slaughtered by her. And I think nowadays I would actually last a little longer, especially if I got someone like Martin. At the time, I did not have a Nullify Vow, and it probably would have helped more, but I don't think it would have made us win. She's just way too good. But I had a really great time being in that little, amateur tournament. It felt very community, because I would see other teams on there too and recognize their names, and then I would see the masterminds participating and I would recognize their name, and I'd be like, oh my god, we all simultaneously agreed to be a part of this. This is really cool. So I know that the game is quote-unquote dead, but I would have really hoped that we would have had a few more tournaments before it completely disappeared, because I really enjoyed those little competitions.
What are your thoughts on the Resistance community as of right now? And why do you still playing it, Joan?
I know everyone says the community is very toxic. I haven't had the pleasure of experiencing that all the time. I don't know if it's just because I don't care if I lose, and it's hard for people to get to me that way, or them try to post a video of me on YouTube about them beating me, and it's like, chill out, it's not a flex, I lose literally all the time. It's not that big of a deal. I don't know, I just like playing. I like playing with everybody. I play with people who aren't friends with each other. I don't know why. Everybody seems pretty cool in this community. Even the sweaty masterminds, super toxic builds and stuff. I'm like, I love them. They're great. So I don't know what that says about me. Maybe I'm the most toxic person in the whole community because I'm friends with everyone. But I really hope that, I don't know, people just start realizing while this game is dwindling to an end that you may hate these people, but we have something in common. We're all addicted to this game, and we don't know why. I think it is the camaraderie and the Resident Evil themed. I'm a huge Resident Evil fan, and to have a teamwork game that's themed on one of my favorite video game franchises ever is like really cool. It's very similar to Outbreak. So if they ever came out with a Resident Evil Outbreak, I would be on top of that. But this is the closest thing they got, so I just keep coming back to it. I know I can play with my friends, I know I could run in and fight my friends, so that part keeps me, the replayability keeps building for that. But I do know one day we are going to try and sign on and play, and there aren't going to be any masterminds on, and we're just going to stay in matchmaking queue for hours and just finally realize, oh my god, it's actually gone. It's going to be a sad, sad day.
How would you change the meta of this game, Joan?
You know, I would say increasing equipment points, but I think that's only, like I said, I already thought that it was unbalanced where survivors had, the most advantage. So if I really had to change anything, I would take out Goop and Shoot, Nikolai, and Trap Alex. I would at least make them add a creature or two or something, not just technology. It doesn't feel very Resident Evil to go in and tinker with like electricity and technology and computers and stuff. It just feels very not survival horror that way. Maybe they do an Outbreak, do a remake, do a Resistance 2. Oh my god, could you imagine? Maybe they'll add it to where the map will be like twice as big and you could have two masterminds working as a team to try and destroy you and your team. Like, that would be kind of cool if the masterminds had to work with some team stuff like we do. That would be pretty interesting. Like they have to share bioenergy, or like they can only do one side of the map and their friend can only do the other side of the map.
Now, in your opinion, just for fun, which player is the best with that particular survivor? So, best Valerie.
The best Valerie, I'm trying to keep these lists extremely short, and if I do not say your name, that does not mean that I do not think that you are good at this character. I just think that these people could literally run a game by them damn selves as this character, and they would win. Like, they could solo hell with these characters and have a team of babies, and I would put money on these people would make it to stage 3 exit. As far as Valerie, Valpow is concerned, I think Pickle is a really good Val. Crimson Fox, everybody knows, that's like one of the top Vals. Ben Sanderson's a really good Val. He knows where all the credits are. He's memorized them. Koji's a good Val. Habiba, I like her as Val. Ruby Riches, I've only seen her play Val maybe one time. She usually plays Jan when I played with her, but I will put her name down for a Val because, I do remember not dying. But yes, those are my little collection of the best Vals. Like I said, if I didn't say your name, doesn't mean I don't think you're good. I just really do think that these people are on a totally different level.
Best Jan.
Bam Margera Jan. I love their uniqueness of using a USB Jan. Nobody else does that, and I think that it says a lot about their gaming skill where they are able to focus on cameras and keep all their responsibilities as a January while simultaneously also being USB slave for stage 2. That is skill, and that is situational awareness, like I said, on another level. Ruby Riches, I'm definitely putting her name down for Jan, because she really is one of the best Jans that I've seen work. The camera killer. I would look up to try and help destroy a camera, and it would already be destroyed. So those kind of players are just like the, wow. Or you're just running through towards the exit, and you're like, why is nothing spawning? Why is it so quiet? They literally took out every camera. Or like back in the day when they used to run malware more, they would just malware every single camera. And you're like, oh my god, that you just made the game a little too easy. But I like it. I love Jan.
Best Sam.
Sam isn't a character that I see people pick very often, but the ones that have will usually stick with that same character for most of our play together. And so I've just memorized their names as being really good, sturdy Sams that never die. Mouse Evil, Curious Static X, and In Weston. Those 3 Sams, I think everyone would agree with me, are, pretty beefy Sams that are always there when they need to be. And I don't find myself having to go and save them very often, even if they run the build on Sam that when his health gets really low, he gets stronger. I'm usually the healer, so it's kind of confusing for me. I'll see them in red and I'll freak out and try and get to them so that I can be there for them when they fall, but they'll never fall. So I'm like, alright, well, if you can run this super tricky build and you don't need the healer to spot you, then I think you're a pretty decent Sam.
Best Tyrone.
Best Tyrone. Jared James currently is the one that is playing Tyrone actively. If my friend Blaze50 was still playing, I would say that he was one of the best Tyrones hand down, because I've just played with him so many times. I got to see him work in so many different scenarios against so many different levels of mastermind difficulty, and I just got to see him work in different types of environments to know how he would work under pressure. And so that's the only reason that every time I think of like the best Tyrone, I just see his name and I'm like, okay, that's who I'd want to have my back. Conqueror is also a really good Tyrone. But yeah, Jared James, he's currently right now, I think he holds the title being the best Tyrone.
Best Martin.
Martin! I know, I love Martin. So if I say that you're a good Martin, you are a really good Martin to me. Flawless. Jet Chan, you're a good Martin. The French Reaper, my buddy, you are also a good Martin. And Danny Kang, I played with you last night. I watched your ass the whole time. And you were a great Martin. You were lining up those traps behind us so that anything that followed us, or if they, got William and we knew that he was chasing after us, if we heard those traps go off, we knew exactly how far away he was. And that's one of my favorite things about Martin, is just the crowd control, the versatility, a walking arsenal, and these three players I have watched, and if I would say anyone has to be Martin in a team besides myself, I would nominate these three people.
Best Becca.
Best Becca. So I have Koji on here, and not for his traditional Torch Becca build, even though it was adorable and it did work a few times. I witnessed it. But even without the torches, Koji is a really good Becca. Raccoon City is also a good Becca. And I have watched your video edits on your channel, and I've watched you play Becca. You don't miss a shot. I watch if y'all don't know, Ether has other videos on his channel besides the interviews, which are just edited playthroughs of him and his friends with filters and music, and it's an aesthetic, it's a vibe. You could put that on in your living room and just walk away, and it just feels like a creepy Resident Evil environment. The Toxicity of Our City is one of my favorite videos that he's done, but I like the way you play Becca. You don't miss a shot, like I said. That's super important. Ammo is very precious.
Thank you very much, Joan. I appreciate the views. Best Jill.
Jill, look boys, y'all are gonna have to fight to the death for this title, because I'm gonna throw both y'all's names on there. And I've played with y'all both. I wouldn't say equal amounts. I've definitely played with one a lot more, like since last year. I feel like I play with them all the time. So I get to see them grow, and I get to see their aim get better, and I get to see them get better at taking out BOWs. But the first person on the list, they've just been flawless since day one. There's nothing to see to be improved, because they've already reached it, the zenith of being the best Jill. Firebird Fred, I'm sorry, you're just the best Jill. And Darkness OG, it's very close. If something happens to Fred, I guess you could take the title. No, but Darkness OG is a really good Jill too. I've really watched them, bloom as Jill. I've watched their accuracy get better. I've watched their teamwork get better. They've saved my ass so many times. But yeah, Darkness OG is a really good Jill too. But yeah, between Firebird Fred and Darkness OG, it's one of those. I'll flip a coin or something. I don't know.
Now, in your opinion, which player is the best for that particular mastermind? So, best Daniel.
So this is actually my favorite part of the whole interview, naming the best masterminds, because it is joyful to hear survivors and masterminds alike also name who they think is the best nemesis to run into, or like, when that matchmaking screen loads and you see that name at the bottom right and you're like, oh, who is it? That gets my heart racing, seeing names. Really good Daniel, Curious Static X, Angel OG. Angel OG is a good Daniel. They started off as a baby, and they started off playing Survivor, and then they went and they played some Mastermind, and they found their niche, they found Daniel, and then they just ran with it, and they became one of the most ruthless, you can't even get up to breathe on top of you Daniels. So I really like fighting against Angel OG. But yeah, Curious Static X, every time I see their name, my heart races, and I'm like, yes, this is gonna be exciting. Let me sit up.
Best Alex.
The best Alex, I'm gonna have to give it to Aveska. Not just because she absolutely slaughtered me in tournament with her Trap Alex, but she's also my friend. I played customs with her, I play other games with her, and she is just, her attention to detail and her forethought onto where to place traps it's just a thing of genius. J Money is also a really great Alex as an affection Alex. There was one time I just kept running into them in solo hell over and over again as my Martin, and every time we would lose, I would go back and I would change my equipment more and more towards gas mask, just so that if I ran into him again, I'd have a fighting chance. And even with all of my equipment switched over to be completely anti-infection build, they still gave me a run for my money, to where it was just like, oh my goodness, you deserve that. That was the best. Underworld is also a good Alex. I like seeing their name. I like fighting against them too.
Best Annette.
Best Annette. Annette is the funnest mastermind to fight, in my opinion, because she just gives you so many squishy things to beat up, and it's just fun. Especially if you go up against an Annette and you got a Tyrone and a Sam, it is magic watching them just part the Red Sea for you, while you and another support character just go and pick up everything and just, don't die. But my favorite Annettes to fight against: Doc Fabron, Sparing Pickle, Dominic, Thomas Equinos, and Barry Burton. When I see their names, my heart starts racing. I want to fight them. And if I lose, I want to immediately fight them again because I want that redemption match. I want that rematch. I don't mind if I lose 1,000,000 times. I know that I'll win once, at least, maybe.
Best Spencer.
Spencer, G-Money Streets, I love him. Raccoon City's a good Spencer too. I love playing as Spencer. Going against Spencer, sometimes it could be a little scary or intimidating, especially if we don't have a USB person and they happen to be like a terminal Spencer, or we don't have a January, or, Ivies. Oh my god, Ivies are the bane of my existence. I love Spencer though, but yeah, definitely G-Money Streets, Raccoon City, those are the two names that I like to see. Curious Static X plays Spencer as well, I believe. So, pretty sure they do. I think Curious Static X also plays Annette too. They just play a little bit of everybody. But yeah, I do love seeing their name on there. I just know that I'm in for a really good match, and that if I do win, it will be very, when you work really hard for something and then you finally finish it, and it just feels like a whole weight's lifted off your shoulder and you just feel so light and like, oh, finally. I like feeling that, and I can't feel that way unless I'm fighting up against one of these super sweaty masterminds. Because I love these guys. But I love to beat them.
Best Nikolai.
I know this is like the most famous question, and everyone's gonna say Lin Kuei Dark Toxicity. And I just want to put those two guys to the side for a second so I could give other people a chance to get on this list too, because y'all already know y'all are the best. Y'all know y'all are the best. So we might stop even including you in the list because you're already just understood to be real Nikolais. Star's a really good Nikolai too. Naked Coon, Habiba. I really like them playing as Nikolai as well. That's always very exciting. Dokman Sam, my friend. That's always so fun. Oh god. Once there was this match, I fought against him. He had Nikolai, had Mr. X out. Stage 3, I was trying to make it to the exit gate. He pulled out Nemesis, he pulled out that rocket launcher. I hurried up and moved to the side. It hit the wall instead of me. I don't know how the backsplash didn't even injure me. And then I did my flashy thing, and if it wasn't for that, and he just got a little distracted, and we all just beeline past him to go to the exit, we won by the skin on our teeth. Okay, that was a very exciting match. I really like fighting against Pokemon Sam.
Final question. Who are a couple special players you prefer to play with, Joan?
I always play with these guys. I got like an international team and I got like a stateside team. So I'll get up early and I'll play with the French Reaper and Habiba and Aveska. And we'll play other games besides Resistance too. We'll play Evil Dead, we'll play Back 4 Blood. They're just really cool people. They will do customs with me occasionally too so that I can be mastermind, and that's always kind of fun. I love playing with Firebird Fred. He is absolutely flawless. Darkness OG, absolutely flawless. Ken is the name, is such a funny and sweet person. It's just really entertaining. Naked Coon's really fun. Angel OG, Ben Sanderson. They're all autopilot, just good at the game, so we can just sit in party chat and talk about anything we want and just joke around in the game, and we'll still end up winning or making it through most of the time. So it's just really laid back to play with them. Even just doing duo or trio, queue, it's still really joyful to play with these friends of mine who I wouldn't have had if I didn't start playing Resistance. So I got to thank Resident Evil Resistance for that.
Any final statements or anything you want to say, Joan?
Yes, Ether. Don't stop making these interviews. And if this game ever branches out to a Outbreak remake or we do RE-verse, I hope that you could do interviews for that too, because I would love to learn more about the Resident Evil communities as the years go by. But yes, I really enjoy these interviews, and like I said, I hope that if Resident Evil Resistance, one day we're going to get on, try to play, and no one's going to be on. Like, there's going to be no masterminds. Queue time's going to be like 9 hours, and we'll be like, okay, well, I guess the game's officially dead now. But I know everybody's saying it's dead right now, and we've had some new games come out, quite a few new games, really popular new games come out recently that people have left to go and play those. But you know what? They end up coming back, which is the weirdest thing. Even me, I play these new games, I buy these new games, I literally try to move on with my life. And I keep coming back to Resistance. And I really think it is the camaraderie and the friendships that we've built since COVID playing this. And just the game is kind of so small, and there's only so many stages, there's only so many bad guys. We kind of memorized everything by now. We know how everything's going to be, where it's going to be. We know people's builds. We could guess what they have on based on how they're playing. This whole community, has almost like a cult following for this game. It's very fascinating. I'm just glad to be a part of it.
All right, Joan. Thank you for doing this. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Ether.